Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for Broadway World. Following a sold-out run at New Jersey's famed Paper Mill Playhouse, the new Disney musical Newsies by Alan Menken, Harvey Fierstein, and Jack Feldman will open March 29th at the Nederlander Theater, and it will once again star Jeremy Jordan and Cara Lindsay.
Look around this theater. This theater was actually built 5 years after the historical incident that inspired this play. And a lot of people don't realize that this musical is based on a true event, a thing that actually happened in our city. In 1899, a group of newsboys went on strike against 2 newspapers because the newspapers themselves had raised the prices to the Newsies, but were not raising the price to the community at large, squeezing the ability of the Newsies to make a life at all. And led by a real kid named Kid Blink, named for his eye patch, it's true, a kid with an eye patch led this extraordinary revolution. It did happen. In fact, I happen to have a news clipping, and it actually is from The Sun, which they did not strike against. And this actually is a rally announcement, and it actually says, "Help us in our struggle to get fair play by not buying the Journal or the World. Help us. Do not ask for the World or Journal. Newsboys Union." How did this happen? How did these kids come together and do that? Well, that story inspired 2 Hollywood screenwriters, Bob Zucker and Nomi White, to create the screenplay for the film that became Newsies. That idea was bought by the Disney Studios, and Disney thought at the time this would be a great film musical. In 1992, to bring back film musicals. And they approached Alan Menken and Jack Feldman to put that musical together. It came out to a lot of attention, but the movie itself in theaters didn't last very long. But what did happen is through the miracle of home video and then DVD, this property lived on and on and on.
Congratulations, Newsies is coming to Broadway. How excited are you?
Well, you know, the funny thing is I'm excited and surprised because we've been working on this for a long time, and you know, internally at Disney, my fantastic staff, Steve Fickinger, who's been leading this project from the very beginning, was intending it to be for licensing because we knew there was such a demand in colleges and high schools and community theaters to do it. And then just one thing led to another, and quite by surprise, the production came together at a level that we weren't expecting. And then when Nick Scandalia said, "Would you like the Nederlander Theater?" Okay, and there it happened, yeah.
So take me back to Paper Mill. That was magical, that first performance on stage. How you felt, what happened with this musical there at Paper Mill?
Well, you know, you never know what something's going to become. But all the elements of this show, I think the way that Jeff has directed it, the way that Chris has choreographed it, what Harvey has written, and of course this music from Alan and from Jack, it's deeply emotional. I think what no one expected, however, was the 1 + 1 = 20 quality of these newsboys. You see it here today. They're genuine. They're gigantically talented. They're so dear to each other. They're so supportive of each other that they kind of raise the roof off the place.
What kind of work has been done on the musical since Paper Mill and now to Broadway?
Oh, we've done quite a bit. The team has been working like crazy. So in terms of staging things, some physical elements, choreography, you'll see changes in that. One character's been totally rewritten. Carpathia's character of Meta is a complete reinvention of what we saw, and it's a brand new song. And there's a couple of other new songs. So we've got 3 new songs in the show from what were at Paper Mill. One entire reinvention of character, and then a lot of shifting things around. So we've continued to work the whole time.
Broadway was not in the realm for this show, was it?
No, it truly wasn't. I mean, it's kind of blindsided us all, but in the best way.
Isn't that great the way that happens?
Yeah, I said, you know, it was so fantastic because we went in there with no expectation, but just with a project that we all loved, and just we knew we would have a great time doing because of the talent and the score so we were like, yeah, let's just have a great time and so there wasn't that extra layer of expectation or you know, all that stuff that normally comes with putting on a show that you know has that goal. And so we just put our hearts on the stage and our joy, and I feel like that's what the audience felt. I feel like they're seeing that kind of love for the piece that we had and just the fun that we had making it. So it's great.
What attracted you originally?
I mean, definitely the dancing. I mean, I was a fan of the movie growing up. I mean, all my peers are in the movie, and it was great to watch them. So I definitely knew of the property. But then when I heard it was happening, I was like, oh, I was like, I have to do this show. Jane Abramson's right there. I'm like, I have to do this show just because I knew the opportunities I would get. And so those boys do not disappoint. So it's exciting.
Welcome to Broadway with Newsies. How does that feel? Because it was never intended to come here.
Yeah, well, I did. I intended it to come here. Who cares what Disney thought? I intended. I had plans. I had a dream. And here it is.
So what has it been like working on this musical? What attracted you originally, Harvey, to the movie?
I was sitting at Alan's house. We live a couple of miles apart. I was sitting up in his office. I said, let's do something. He said, okay, what do you want to do? And I said, what's going on with that? And I pointed to the poster on the wall. And he said, we've been trying to do it for 20 years. Can't pull it off, forget it. I said, I'll do it. He said, you can't. I said, I'll do it. It ain't going to cost you nothing. I'll go do it. So then Tom called me up and said, it'll never happen. We've worked on it for 20 years. It can't be. I said, I'll do it. He said, Harvey, don't. I said, I'll do it. Just leave me alone. And famous last words. Here it is.
So what attracted you to the piece? Was it the story?
No, not per se. It was the idea. It was the exuberance of the boys. I love the music. I love the exuberance of the boys. I love the energy of the whole piece. Not saying that just boys going on strike against the newspaper intrigued me, but what I found was that I could make it about something bigger, which is about the younger generation putting their foot down and demanding a place at the table. I wrote a speech for Roosevelt, in fact, in the piece that says that. It says, every generation must step aside and allow the young to have their day. And, we feel it will be a great day with you guys, or whatever I wrote. I write it much better than I recite it. But that's what I found that I thought was really exciting in the show. And then of course it was like, all right, we need a love story, and came up with her, and and then the idea that Jack was a kid that wanted to be a cowboy, and that sort of turned my stomach. So I said, he's a young boy who has this artistic soul, this real artistic soul, and wants to go out west and all that, and I made him an artist who then, through his drawings, changes the world. His drawings gets the prison closed down. His drawings get the governor involved. His drawings make the big rally happen. And, I thought the role of art was another good theme. So that's what I brought.
Tell me what it's been like working on this project all over again and turning it into a stage musical.
That was, I know it sounds like a cliche, but the process of working on this was really the best part of it for me, because it enabled us to get to work again, which I never thought we'd be able to do, on something that we never really had time to fine-tune and to explore it all over again. It was a do-over, and that you seldom get an opportunity to do that. So it was incredible to be able to.
So what has it been like for you revisiting this? Because I loved the movie the first time around, but for you and Jack to revisit this and turn this into something else, what that's been like for you?
Well, not easy. Not easy until Harvey came on board, to be honest. It was, what are we going to add to this? Are we going to, our first take on it was to add sort of more turn-of-the-century elements like ragtime and things that have to do with strikes and musical theater kind of gravitas to it, and it just was, I said, okay, you know what? I think the whole thing has to be exuberant and rock and roll like what we did, for the movie. And that's what we went back to when Harvey came on board, with some restructure. And from that point forward, it just started working tremendously. It's also been a lot of fun because we have really fun chemistry, Harvey, Jack, and I. It's been a fun process with Disney. It has been a process where we've all felt a lot of support for each other, and the agenda's been very clear. Once we felt we got it right, this has moved forward inexorably, and then the audience, which has been probably the most powerful part of this whole process, you know, in creating a demand to do it to begin with, and then in the way they reacted to it at Paper Mill, you know, it just always exceeded our expectations every step of the way.
Just to be a part of a new Disney production itself was so exciting, and more than I have ever thought I'd be a part of ever. So that was exciting in itself. And then to do the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and then to be coming to Broadway, we're like, oh my God, it's just overwhelming. Our heads are going to explode because we're just like, all this is happening and we didn't even expect it. It's just the greatest gift. So
talk about the role.
Katherine Plumber, she's 18, and she's a new addition to the script as opposed to the screenplay. Harvey added her as a love interest with Jack. Well, there was a love interest in the movie, but it was very minuscule. So they're making it a little more prominent. And also she writes the Newsboys article about, or the news article about the Newsboys strike. And this was in 1899, and it's the turn of the century. And she's a young woman in the workforce, which is a rare thing. And but she's upper class, and she's smart and astute, and she works very hard, and she's a go-getter. So and there are a lot of women reporters that I've studied that are from that time, like Nellie Bly, who I've really pulled from. Who was working at the turn of the century and was working actually for Pulitzer. So, so it's not an unusual thing, but it was rare. So.
And you get to sing an incredible score. Talk about that.
I know, it's Alan Menken. It is an incredible score, and there's brand new music that we get to learn that's fresh from his mind. You know, that we get to sing, and it's just incredible. And I mean, even just the movie, people are attached to that music, and I am. It stays in your head, and it makes you smile and makes you dance. It makes these boys dance like crazy.
I play Crutchy, and he has a gimp leg and is forced to walk with a crutch. And I think a lot of people are sort of expecting that character to be really just like the fragile, weak one, and I think the way that Harvey's written it, it's sort of really breaking the archetype of like Tiny Tim. He's a tough guy. He's always making wisecracks and really great dry one-liners, so it's so fun to play. And he's one of the Newsies, which is great, and just to get to be on stage with all those boys singing and dancing their hearts out is unbelievable.
Talk about the score.
Well, the score is incredible. It's legendary, honestly. Alan Menken, he was totally a legend when I was growing up. He won a Grammy the night before we started Rehearsal, which is incredible. Jack Feldman, I have always been such a fan of his lyrics. He's really used the vernacular of the Newsies, but somehow made all of his songs be really strong and powerful. So I think the combination of the two of them just makes a dynamite score. I've been humming these tunes since I was a kid, and now that there's all these new songs in it too, they're just constantly on loop in my brain.
Well, the score is amazing. You can't go wrong with Alan Menken. I grew up on his music, and I'm sure we're all huge fans of it. My role is actually really fun to play because he doesn't start the show as a rough newsie. He sort of comes in as this bookwormy, cautious type of character, and he really finds brotherhood among the Newsies, and they sort of usher him in and really take him under his wing, and he gains all this confidence through the show, and that's really exciting to play this arc of starting as this timid character and gaining all this confidence, and by the end of the show organizing a rally, organizing a strike, and really fighting for something that I truly believe in.
Well, you know, when I first did it, there was, the creative team, Harvey and the songwriters were there. Jeff wasn't there, the choreographer wasn't there when I did the reading. And even then, I mean, I just remember being in the room learning the big chorus anthems and just having a big smile on my face, just thinking, wow, I'm doing this in real life. Something that I've listened to the recording of thousands of times is here, right here, and then I'm part of it. And so, to think of all the kids who grew up with it and all the people of my generation who loved the show so much, to be able to be their voice and bring that to the production. And so many of us loved it, and I think that's big, that's really important, because you could have a cast of people that didn't grow up on the movie and didn't really know much about it until they got cast, and they'll bring something new and great to it. But the fact that we're part of that group of people, I mean, is really cool.
And what has it been like starting rehearsals all over again?
Fun and easy and exciting and relaxed. Because, when you start rehearsals for the first time, it's always very like, okay, I got to prove myself. Or, we got to really get this going. We got to make this the best it can be. We got to really find out what this is. But we know what it is. We know it's great. And so our job now is to get that greatness back and then make it even greater. Amp up the characters, amp up the love story, fix the little things that never quite worked. And everything else is just us having fun and relaxing and being together.